So guys, I have something to tell you. I fell in love with my sister's boyfriend. There, I said it. And you know what? Something happened to him, and I was the one that was there for him, not my sister, so I don't even feel bad. But yeah, I forgot to mention this one little thing. Jane and I were immersed in a heated debate about the latest fashion trends. Flipping through the glossary pages of the hottest fashion magazine, Jane was all about modern, sleek, and chic designs, while I was a firm believer in the timeless elegance of old-fashioned dresses. As I passionately defended my point of view, Jane teased me for being so old-fashioned, but I didn't let it get to me. I knew my sister well enough to understand that she had no interest in old moral values or traditional art forms. She was always focused on keeping up with the times and embracing changes. As we chatted, I found myself gazing out the window, admiring the vast expanse of the sky, and suddenly the doorbell rang, interrupting our conversation. Jane asked me who it could be, and I knew exactly what she meant. She wanted me to get up and answer the door. Without hesitation, I leaped from the chair and raced to the front door, determined not to let the bell ring again. When I opened the door, my heart sank at the sight of Erik, standing right there on the doorstep. I'd known Erik for 6 years, ever since Jane introduced him as her boyfriend, and he looked like a shell of his former self. His face was expressionless, and his eyes were vacant as if he's lost all emotion. I could not help but think he looked like a ghost, but I knew that could not be true. So, I invite him inside, but he starts to move slowly, as if in a daze. It was clear that something terrible happened, and I braced myself for the worst. As I looked at his lifeless form, I knew that this was going to be a long night. With a polite inquiry, he asked about Jane, and I responded by gesturing towards the room. As I watched him amble towards her, my mind raced with questions. Why was he here? What brought him to our doorstep unannounced? Despite my curiosity, I made the conscious decision not to disturb their privacy by staying in the TV lounge. However, my heart was pounding with anticipation and my nerves were on edge. Something about his demeanor suggested that he was harboring bad news, a feeling that only intensified when I saw the sadness etched on his face. This was a stark contrast to his usual cheerful and humorous demeanor, leaving me on the edge and apprehensive. Settling onto the cozy sofa, I aimlessly clicked on the TV, unsure of which channel or show had captured my attention. My thoughts were consumed and jumbled, hoping each one would prove unfounded. Despite this, a gnawing feeling in my heart persisted. Suddenly, the sound of Jane's sobs pierced through the silence. My immediately pulse was to rush to her side, yet I hesitated, not wanting to intrude on her privacy. Just then, Erik's urgent voice broke the tension, calling out for my assistance and fetching a glass of water for Jane. Upon entering the room, I observed a heart-wrenching scene. He sat next to her, grabbing her hand while she went inconsolably. Well, despite her despair, he spoke softly, assuring her that all would be well. I approached them and offered a glass of water, hoping to alleviate the tension in the room. He then requested that I join them, and I settled into the chair that I've occupied just moments before his arrival. As he worked to soothe her, he shared with me some of the devastating news. He had been diagnosed with a rare stomach disease. I was completely stunned and at a loss for words. My heart went out to him, and I worried about my sister and how she would handle this news, given how much he meant to her. Although I was shaken, I tried to remain optimistic, offering words of encouragement and support, and I just wished him a speedy recovery and did my best to console my sister, reassuring her that everything would be all right. It was a somber moment, but I hope that my presence and support could make a difference in this difficult time. Within a few minutes, he received an urgent work call that forced him to leave. Once he departed, a remarkable change swept through the room. Jane's behavior became markedly different, as though nothing of importance occurred. However, she revealed to me that the doctor had given her boyfriend only 5 months to live, and she had been weeping while he was present, but as soon as he left, her tears abruptly ceased. It was as if she had constructed a smoke screen to shield her true emotions from him. Jane even declared to me that she would block him, never to see him again. The whole situation was alarming and absolutely unbelievable. I had assumed that her heart would be shattered into pieces, yet she acted as though he meant nothing to her. I was completely taken back by my sister's actions and could not comprehend why she would just behave in such a way. It was as though I had been completely oblivious to her true nature. I felt a sense of urgency to help her see the situation clearly. With a heavy heart, I implored her to understand just how deeply her partner loved her. I reminded her all the times that he had stood by her side, through thick and thin, and how he had always been a pillar of strength during her darkest moments. I tried to convey the gravity of the situation, explaining that it was a crucial moment for him and that he needed support more than ever. I remind her that he had bypassed other options and came straight to her. Revealing just how much he meant to him with each word, I hoped to reach her heart and help her see the true value of her relationship. She believed it was unwise to spend any further time on him. She politely requested that I refrain from overemphasizing the situation, but when she noticed my persistence, she gracefully left the room. Update number 1 a few weeks later. Hey guys, it's been a few weeks since I've posted about my sister's boyfriend being diagnosed with a serious disease. It was a painful realization when Jane stopped seeing him and avoided his multiple calls. Despite his efforts, she intentionally did not receive any of them. One day he showed up at her doorstep, but my mom made an excuse that Jane wasn't home. I knew that she was actually supporting Jane's decision because she didn't want him to see her. It broke my heart to see how poorly my family was treating a good person who loved my sister with all his heart, and just always respected family. As he left without arguing, I could not help but feel the weight of the situation. I couldn't just stand there and watch it happen. When my mom closed the door and returned to the living room, I questioned her about why she lied to him. Her face turned red as she scolded me and said, "Didn't you see how terrible he looked? He was a ghost." I said, "Yeah, I saw him. That's precisely why I'm asking you this question. Don't you remember how much he respected and cared for us? He needs us now, Mom. He's always treated us like his own darn family." Mom had left me feeling a little taken back. She had made it clear that she didn't want to engage in any arguments with someone like me, a quote, old moral valued lady, as she headed to the kitchen to decorate a cake for Jane. I couldn't help but think about the apparent disconnect between her mood and the situation at hand. Here she was, preparing a cake for her beloved child, while someone she knew was absolutely suffering. Days later, I learned that Erik had stopped contacting my sister. It seemed he had, come to understand that she didn't want to remain in contact any further. However, I couldn't shake the sadness I felt for him. I couldn't help but think about his situation, and it led me to pay him a visit. When I arrived at his house, I found it locked, but I know the address of his parents' house, so I headed there. As I parked my car, I saw his mother locking the door in a hurry. I raced towards her and struck up a conversation, hoping to learn more about Erik's condition. It turned out he had been in a hospital for the last 4 days. I felt awful for not knowing about it earlier, and I asked if I could join her in a visit. She agreed. As we drove to the hospital, she shared more details about his condition. It seemed that he had been losing weight rapidly, and that his digestive system was not functioning properly. She also expressed her anger towards my sister, questioning how someone could be so selfish. I didn't know what to say in response, but she seemed to sense my empathy towards the situation. Encountering him was distressing, as it felt like I was witnessing a living skeleton. His body had lost all its flesh, leaving only bones despite his appearance. He greeted me with a smile. Approaching him slowly, I gasped, and I grabbed his hand, and tears welled up in my eyes. Although he signaled for me to remain composed, my legs trembled with emotion. Recalling the first time he came to our home, I remembered him as a tall, attractive man with a well-built physique. However, Now he resembled a mere skeleton with no flesh. I made a promise to him that I would visit him daily and never leave his side. He was pleased with my commitment. Upon returning home, I felt angry and wanted to confront my sister about Erik, but I knew it'd be pointless. Instead, I kept quiet and went to take a shower to hide my tears. I couldn't stop thinking about Erik, and his face was constantly on my mind. The following day, I visit Erik at the hospital again, and we chat for hours. Although he asked about Jane, I diverted the conversation to avoid discussing her. It was heartwarming to see him smile. Before leaving, I consulted with the doctor and learned about Erik's recommended diet plan, which included boiled vegetables, and I assured his mother that I would take care of him from now on. I made a decision to visit Erik daily to spend time with him, as it was calming for me. Additionally, I took it upon myself to prepare and bring him food on a daily basis. However, my family starts to become suspicious of my actions, with Jane asking me directly what I was up to. I didn't disclose what I was doing. I was taking care of her ex-boyfriend, as I knew it could lead to conflict. Despite my attempts to brush off her questions, Jane remained unconvinced. One day, while I was en route to the hospital to visit Erik, Jane must have followed me and caught me in the act, red-handed. She then proceeded to create a scene at home, with my mother becoming even more angry. They all disapproved of my actions and didn't want me to continue to see Erik. Jane even mocked me, suggesting that I was wasting my time caring for someone who was dying. Their words cut deep and hurt me greatly, but I refused to abandon Erik in his time of need. Oh no, I stood firm in my decision to support him and provide him with companionship and care. Despite the judgment and disapproval of my family, I knew in my heart that I was doing the right thing. Update number 2. Final update. As the days passed, 4 months have gone, and, well, his health was slowly but surely improving. You heard that right. Witnessing his recovery felt like a personal victory. Those 4 months were a true test of character, revealing the genuine individuals in our lives. Throughout this time, I stood by his side. I offered support and care every step of the way. And to my surprise, he had developed feelings for me. However, fear held him back from expressing them until he was finally discharged, and we found ourselves in the comfort of his home. Initially, I was taken aback by his confession because he was my sister's boyfriend, but deep down, I also felt something for him. I struggled with these feelings, finding them embarrassing and shameful. However, as time went by, his dedication to our bond, his unwavering support, and the hardships we had faced together made me realize that my feelings for him, they were real, and they were there. He argued that the difficulties we've overcome together was a testament to strength of our bond. He questioned me. If it wasn't love, then what else could have kept us so close during those hard times? His words touched my heart, and I knew then that his love was true and sincere. Looking back, those 4 months was a period of growth, realization, and love. It was a journey that brought us close together, and I will always cherish the memories we shared during that time. Romantic dinners and, well, cozy movie nights filled with joy and happiness, I loved it all. However, our blissful romance seemed to have a bittersweet impact on my sister, who unfortunately thought I've stolen her boyfriend right from her feet, despite knowing the truth, that it was actually her who had left him. Her heartache seemed to linger on. One day, while Erik and I were in my room, my sister suddenly burst in, shedding tears and pleading with me to leave her alone with him. But Erik, being the caring and supportive partner that he is, firmly held my hand and insisted that she speaks her mind freely in front of both of us. To our surprise, she begged for reconciliation, desiring to win him back, causing utter confusion and disturbance for us. Despite her tears at the time, Erik and I knew that our love was true, and that we could not just let her emotions disrupt our relationship. So, as we left the room, Erik reassured me of his unwavering commitment to me and called me his lifesaver. We drove away, still in disbelief at what just happened. After several days, Erik had made a complete recovery, and his medical records indicated that he was in good health. To my surprise, he proposed to me, expressing his desire to make me his wife. I was overjoyed and eagerly looking forward to spending the rest of my life with him. However, my happiness was short-lived, as my sister, upon learning of Erik's proposal, became uncontrollably angry, physically attacking me, slapping me across the face, and I was devastated and spent the entire day crying. My mother tried to intervene and reason with her, but my sister remained furious and refused to listen. Despite the emotional turmoil caused by my sister's behavior, I knew I had to take action. I filed a complaint against her, got her arrested, and obtained a restraining order to protect myself from any further harm. Thankfully, a week later, Erik and I exchanged vows and became husband and wife, surrounded by loved ones who supported our relationship and wished us all the best in our future together. Though the events leading up to the marriage were very rowdy, we were grateful to have each other and have found a way to move forward together. Alright, so this story definitely escalated quickly, but the one question I just can't seem to understand is, why did OP's sister seem so jealous after her sister got in a relationship with her ex-boyfriend, but she wasn't there for the boyfriend when he was in an accident and, well, he was trying to recover from the disease? Let me know your thoughts about that one, guys. What would you do if you were in this very specific situation and you fell in love with your sister's ex? You're the one that nursed him back to health and ultimately helped him in his recovery from that disease. Let me know your thoughts. Drop it in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel, hello and welcome. Consider subscribing for more daily stories, and you can also check out my other channels listed below in the comment section. Guys, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you later.